resume his place in the middle of the field.
Like the ball was flicked high in the air by James Owens to start, and straight away we've been nearly free from that throw in. And the Castletown are attacking the Pine Ridge end, the Wexford Town side with the breeze behind him. Liam Coleman, one of the promising young footballers, still maturing into, I suppose, an inter-county player. He's been there for a while now, but he's still very young as they work the ball forward. Castletown, they know themselves. They're playing the favourites that they're going to need a good start. They have the ball in the Shelmalier side of the field with Jack Higgins, very good young prospect indeed. Conor Carty, captain of the team, wearing number 10 today, has played in the backs for them in the early rounds of the championship. They've been beaten twice, and one of their defeats was against Shelmaliers, but that's quite a while ago now. Conor Carty keeping possession over the left hand side of the field, outside the 50, switching with Liam Coleman. He goes back to his centre back, Colin Kennedy, who's not afraid to shoot if he gets a chance up front, and Conor Carty still has it. They're keeping possession very well. They're playing keep ball at the moment with just a little over a minute played. We've yet to see the first score. Liam Coleman popping it on the left to Conor Carty, heading in towards that half of the field. Jordy O'Shaughnessy, such an experienced player, and then he pops it off instantly to running down the sideline, the far side. Conor Carty back to Jordy popping it off as all this action taking place on the sideline on the far side, just coming to the 20-metre line. The ball back out. Jordy O'Shaughnessy has again, but that's spilled, and that's the problem. But the ball is squirmed loose. Shelmaliers deal with it, and they move swiftly up the field with O'Nolan taking, galloping out his own half. He's gone up to midfield already. He has a runner outside him, and one of those runners is the man who started. I think it's Mark Power, is it, Jerry, or Ross Banville it is, as they work the ball up into a scoring position. That's when John King Carley distributes it back to a man who's not afraid to have a shot. It's going to beat everybody. Oh, that was lucky, because the ball looked to be going wide, and the goalkeeper Dara Brooks came out, and mind you, that could have been fatal, because one of the Shelmaliers didn't give up the ghost on that going wide and almost got a touch on it. I think it was Brian Malone, actually. I'm not surprised that Brian would be clever enough to read that situation, Nathan.
Yeah, no, I think it was Brian, in fact. But what was interesting there was a protracted period of possession for Castletown, where they retained possession, but then eventually when it was turned over, the speed of transition for Shelmaliers to move it from back to front and create an opportunity for themselves was hugely impressive. O'Nolan took the ball forward, but he had several runners coming with him, so that seems to be what Shelmaliers will be happy to do here.
And the kick out, well held in midfield, the kick out from Dara Brooks, brilliantly held by Joe Gardner. Joe, of course, and Danny, the two brothers, and Danny seems to be around for an age. He's only 30, mind you. The man is near Coolgraney, and Conor Carty has a free kick for Castletown. He decides to go back. Joe Gardner again coming forward, popping it off his fist to his centre back, who slipped momentarily but recovered himself very well, and now they tear into the Jack Higgins tearing into the Shelmaliers half of the field, and he's going forward as well. He's found an awful lot of space with his left boot. The rest of the world, is it a free? As he played, referee played advantage. The advantage didn't accrue, so it will be a free, Aidan, won't it?
That's my understanding. His hand was up,
so we thought there might have been a negative approach from the men from Castletown, but it doesn't appear like that.
Well, you see, they have possession of the ball, obviously, and once they do, they're going to go forward with it. But it'll be interesting to see if Shelmaliers have a sustained period of pressure, how Castletown set up defensively at that stage.
And a yellow card there, Jerry.
Yeah, Simon Dunno got a yellow card. I think he attempted the foot trip, I think, Jack Higgins, but he didn't trip him, but it was probably the attempt, and that's a very early part of the game to get a yellow card.
But it is a chance for a man who's a terrific kick in the ball, Dara Brooks. 6'1", this student, playing in the goal for Wexford, of course. And I wish say well done to Pa Doyle. He didn't hit that very well. That's not like him. But Jordy O'Shaughnessy has it inside, bottled out. Understandably, very quick recovering Shelmaliers team over the left. Conor Carty keeping possession of the football. He's pushed out into the left corner forward position, but he works it back out the field. And they're trying to work themselves in. James Holmes, such a servant for this club. Back out again. Conor Carty, lovely run through the middle from Rory Heffernan. Heffernan is checked, and Conor Carty has again a real positive start off his right boot. Is that a point? It is for Conor Carty. He's predominantly left-footed, but that hasn't stopped them putting that one over the bar. So the first score of this 2022 county final at Trinity Motor scoreboard reads that the Castletown men have opened the scoring. Very good score as well, Aidan.
Absolutely. It was a poorly struck free, but Jordy O'Shaughnessy did really well to retrieve the ball, worked it out. Conor ended up on the end of it, and using his none favoured right foot. Julie dispatched it. Good score. Good score.
The man who got a early yellow card, Simon Donoghue, getting up the field, being chased all the way. A little bit of pace is carrying him by a couple of markers. He's heading 25 yards from the Clonardin, and it's where that might be a free in there. A little hasty Ross Cody, 23-year-old student from Scarna, committing the free there. 1 point to no score, and Castletown certainly haven't been negative, Jerry. They have the win behind them, and of course, as Aidan said, when they get the ball, they have to go forward with it.
Yeah, and a very good point from Conor Carty, but that was very brave of Conor Herner, because he knew he was going to get hit as he collected the ball. It was good, and he's been very good so far in the championship, Conor Herner. So a chance for Glenn Malone. Not the easiest one to start with, mind you.
Yeah, and Glenn has had a good season so far. He scored 122 for the team. He's on the 14. He has in his hands about 15 yards in field into the Clonardin. Strikes it very well, however, and that doesn't present much of a problem for the big man. The brothers, of course, are still playing, but Glenn Malone responding 1 point apiece, Ed.
Yeah, and I think actually, Liam, the breeze may be favouring Shelmaliers in the first half. Yesterday the breeze was blowing towards the town end, but I'm feeling today that it's actually blowing the other way. Certainly the flag, the Irish flag, would indicate that that's the case.
Yeah, you're probably right, Aidan. The man from Old Town has got that point, and Castletown in the maroon colours coming forward again. Their cornerback Ross Cody loves to get forward. He has played. In fact, it's Jack Higgins. He loves to get forward. The ball brought down. There's a melee of bodies outside the 20. Bodies still falling. Jody Shockley managed to get a boot on it. James Owens doesn't see anything untoward, and that's a very high challenge. And it was completely accidental. Conor Carty just stood his ground, and the Shells player, I'm not too sure who it is. I think it's Simon Donoghue, but there was nothing in it for me, Ed.
No, it certainly wasn't anything malicious. Simon just, as he was picked up the ball and was about to advance, Conor was just standing there in front of him, and he just crashed right into him, really. It is a free out, but no more than that.
7 minutes played, cagey start, Jerry, just a point apiece.
Yeah, well, you know, are keeping very good possession, and Shelmaliers haven't had much of the ball so far. Castletown have more of the ball, so 1 point apiece. You know, listen, it often takes a time, a game to warm up. You know, we don't need 3 or 4 scores in the first 12 minutes in the first game as well, so it takes time for a game to warm up in.
Yeah, well, Seamus Keevan's honoured today. We might get a chance to talk about that because Aidan knew him well. Actually, we've a few funny stories to tell about. If we can put him on radio, we'll certainly tell them about Seamus Keevans, but he was a great football man. Mr. Football amongst himself and Paddy Wicken. Of course, Castletown, if the good win today, is that a point, Jerry? Has a curl in, it has fine point.
Tony Smith named a fantastic score, but it was great work from Conor Hernigan name.
And if Castletown were to win today, they'd go to the top of the all-time list of county winners with St. John's Volunteers. They've 11 at the moment, so that's the second point, and Tony Smith is the one that rattled that one over the bar. So early stages, 8 minutes played, 2 points to 1, Shelmaliers, the county champion. 16 years since the double was completed before, not easy. Owen Nolan knocking that one down, the ball squirms free, great pressure coming in from Castletown around midfield, and the pressure was a little bit too strong from Joe Gardner, and Shelmaliers have it, shoveling it out forward. As Aidan said, I think the wind might be blowing up. It's rarely blowing up the field here, but I think it might be today. We're supposed to have a rare piece of weather coming. Owen Nolan jiggling around, getting involved in the game out the field today. He was up close the last day. Tom, that he might have overcarried that or hopped it twice, did he, Ed?
He did indeed. Good call by James Owens, but you can see when Owen Nolan is on the ball, there's a huge increase in tempo and in pace, and he's posing problems for Castletown, and he seems to be on the ball today already more than he was on it for much of the game the last day.
Absolutely, and Castletown have to be hurried. Frank Roach there almost getting caught in possession, but he regrouped quickly, and a brilliant interception from the man we've been thinking about, Paul Nolan. The referee is playing advantage. Joan O'Gara swinging it across the field, clever pass, picking out Sean Keane-Carr and taking it on the run as the man wearing number 28 for them today. It's hard to see the Shelmaliers numbers were depend on Jerry Law at the time, although we recognise, lads, that's a boom at the post from the far side, from the right corner forward position, but it was Tony Smith who's actually wearing number 26. 10 minutes played, and that's go down as a wide. Cagey, both teams are probably, if we were to look at a possession graph in front of us, Aidan, we would say that it's probably 50-50 at the moment.
Yeah, I would say so, yes. I mean, I would say the contrast is just the speed at which Shelmaliers move it from that middle third forward. Castletown is more considered, shall we say.
And you well caught him in field. And running into trouble with the ball is Donica Holmes. And the ball is worked back out the field, but battling hard to try and win it back is Donica, and it's won back by Shelmaliers. Sean Keane Carl is such a fine footballer, about 6'5" as well. That helps, I think. And Owen Nolan is not too small either, trying to get away. Glenn Malone has it, giving the hand pass back to the man wearing 19 is Ross Banville. Good hurler as well, of course. All these Shelmaliers are good hurlers, but the football is their concentration. They're leading 2 points to 1:10.5 minutes played in the opening half. We're here in association with Ray Whelan Waste and Management. They've been in business for 40 years. Good defence again from Castletown. They really are defending very well over on the left hand side, and then they take the free quickly down to the far side. And keeping possession very well is Robbie Brooks, one of the his brothers in the goal, of course. Robbie is from Ballynacarrig, an operations manager over on the far side. Coming forward, Liam Coleman popping it off nicely. Conor Carty's been very instrumental in a lot of the forward play, switching it to his number 12, Jack Higgins. Jack Higgins getting it back again from the centre back, but he let it fall out of his hand. He manages to get it back. They're inside the Shelmaliers 50. They're attacking the Wexford town side down towards the Bishop's house. Maybe he's here today, Ger Nash. I think the Clare man is more of a hurler. Good change of body from Donica Holmes, keeping possession. Shells a very Castletown, a very patient build-up. Jody Shockley, clever turns one way away from a player, and the ball is worked down the field. Jody Shockley has again. He's inside the 50, giving it off to Donica Holmes. If you combine those two ages, I'll tell you, you'll have a lot of mileage on the clock. But Donica does well to keep possession. Back out the field, back out to Frank Roach. Frank Roach loves to get forward, as does Jack Higgins. Jack Higgins shrivel his way through the defence. Good defence coming in, however, from the Shells men. And as the man Tony Smith, I think, got back there to help his team, and Shells building as Aidan said, they attack very quickly up to the left corner, and it's Brian Malone out there looking for it, trying to take on, and that's a kind of a high tackle. And again, it looked like a high tackle, Aidan, but again it was one of those unfortunate ones, I think, that, you know.
Yeah, well, actually, before Brian actually ran out to that ball, Danny Gardner slipped. I was just watching them, and that's why Brian ended up with 5-6 yards of an advantage over Danny. And then when he turned with the ball, I don't think it was a malicious challenge, but nonetheless, it was high, and there's no question it's a free, and in fact, a card has been issued for it. Yeah.
Now, in terms of the game itself, I think Castletown will be really delighted in.
Yeah, if they can keep the score tight now during this opening half, they will be happy. The only thing is they've gone forward on a couple of occasions and turned the ball over, and the speed then at which Shelmaliers have counter-attacked is they just cannot afford to be turning the ball over when they go.
Dangerous ball in from a free from Glenn Malone, but it's well read back there by Danny Gardner. Such a brilliant, one of the best defenders in club football, and he wins the free as well. The referee had played advantage, but he's going to give a free out to Castletown. That attempt from Glenn Malone, but the ball gone loose. I thought he was playing the advantage too. Did he give the free after? No, I don't think that's allowed. That's a free down. Yeah, I think that's a free down.
No, it had a free out, but I thought they'd taken the free, and Tony Smith intercepted, but obviously too close to the ball maybe.
Yeah, well, James Owens went in, no doubt about the decision. The ball is back with goalkeeper Dara Brooks. Dara popping it off. His father is a native Dublin man, living down around the Castletown area, down in Ballincarrig now for quite a few years. Liam Coleman getting forward, has to check, however, and he pops it off. Good passing, and the bottom cell space. Rory Heffernan and Coleman combining. He's still keeping possession. He's inside the Shelmaliers half of the field. He turns away from trouble off his right boot. Not the best pass in the world. He was kind of slipping as he came off the edge of his right boot and out over the line, and you know, he was a little unfortunate. And it's Sean Keane Carr taking the line ball that was kicked into him by Graham Staples. Graham Staples lined at centre back today. Great reliable man play. Works for the Peddits organisation. Corner Pettit, brilliant from Danny Gardner. He started this game as good as anybody. Very experienced defender. I often felt that he's a player that might have got a run in the Wexford team over the years. Conor Carty's as busy as a bee as he always is, and they keep possession and they're attacking down. They're trailing 2 points to 1. We're nearly at the end of the first quarter this half, and could you believe that how low scoring it is? Jordy O'Shaughnessy has it, swings around the attacker. He's very good at that, giving it to Donegal Holmes. Donegal Holmes has his centre back running outside him. Heavy tackling on his back to his cornerback Ross Cody, and I'm not sure whether he got that decision right, James Owens, Aidan.
I think he was calling probably for an over carry, but as it happened, the Castletown player got a right bang, and it could have gone the other way, certainly.
This is the chance for Shelmers getting forward to try and punish him. Jody O'Shaughnessy, Jody Donoghue, chance. Simon Donoghue boxed this one. He boxed it over the bar. Simon Donoghue, he always gets on the score sheet. Simon Donoghue, no matter what the game, if it's in hurling or football, and Simon has knocked that one over the bar, and that makes it 3 points to 1 in this Dominic Smith Electrical Senior Football Final. It's getting dark here. Rain has stayed away, thank God. The ball high in midfield, big men going up. The ball gets by everybody. Good work from Joe Gardner. Joe Gardner winning possession, being hassled and hounded by Graham Staples, but he managed to get it away to the Frank Roach. Frank Roach giving it back to Joe Gardner. Joe Gardner giving off to Liam Coleman. Donegal Holmes. Donegal Holmes has Frank Roach running inside him. Frank giving it off down to Jody O'Shaughnessy. Cuts in nicely. Jody O'Shaughnessy with the left boot is going to hang dangerously in around the area, and the ball falls with enough defenders there from Shells. Sean Keane Carl, did he handle that on the ground? No, so the referee giving it off to Simon Donoghue, who scored at the other end just a few minutes ago. And Shelmalier sweeping forward now. They're inside their own half of the field still, and a lovely wiggly run from Arnie Murphy getting through. The ball has gone up to Owen Nolan, who's done a lot of running today, moving, and he has Glenn Malone outside him, has to put on the brakes, but he manages to keep it back in. And again, is it Simon Donoghue on the right hand side or Jody? That one has gone wide. Oh, it's gone over. It's gone over, actually. Is it Jody at that time, Jerry? Yeah, the two Donoghue brothers putting that over the bar. 4 points to 1. Now Shells are putting on a little bit of gas.
Yeah, that's a 3 point lead now all of a sudden, and when they go forward, they do look to have carry quite a threat. Castletown, on the other hand, when they go forward, there's very little happening for them up there.
The ball touched down, bobbling around the midfield area. Graham Staples working hard for his team. The ball is squirm free, and the referee saw a boot going in there. Simon Donoghue again is the one that the free was given against that time. And Conor Carty has the ball in midfield, the right hand side of midfield, looking for a bit of movement up front, and there's not much, I have to say. He goes back. 17 and a half minutes played, 4 points to 1. Shelmaliers leading, the county champions. And of course, whoever wins here today will be playing here next Sunday afternoon against Port Tarlington. The Leash champions have had that advantage of a couple of weeks break, and that's the unfortunate thing today. But I suppose players are so fit now, I think, Aidan, that a week's couple of nights celebration wouldn't take much out of it, as they travel down the right hand side. Brendan Halpin cutting back in. He scored 3 points last week, and running into a little bit of trouble as Frank Roach, and he's robbed that time, and Shells coming forward again. Tony Smith driving up the field to Jody Donoghue, and it's right up to the far side. Conor Ahern, who had such a good game the last day. 80 minutes played, 4 points to 1, and it's Shelmaliers that are leading in this opening half. A low scoring game, very tight, very nervy, not much room out there, Aidan.
No, it's actually a very interesting game, and I'm enjoying it, I have to say. Just feel that Castletown they just haven't got that punch up front. When they go forward, they're running into the brick wall of the Shelmaliers defence, and Shelmaliers are hitting them so fast on the break that they'll do well not to concede a goal off one of them.
And there's a Castletown man down on the ground, Joe Hearn. I'm not sure what happened to him. Did you see if anything untoward happened to him, Jerry?
No, I just see himself and Conor Heron were talking there before that, but I didn't see anything happen to him. I didn't see anything.
Joe's a Garda, so I'm not sure where he's stationed, so he's certainly a man you wouldn't want to be pushing around in from that respect.
Well, he could find some way to get his own back on you.
He hardly has a notebook in the pocket of his shorts, has he?
I'm sure he doesn't, and I'm sure he wouldn't do such a thing anyway. What happens on the field, I'm sure, stays on the field, as they say.
He's the man from Ballymoney. He's okay though, but he's claiming that he got a high elbow or something. And there's another Owen O'Gara, and it's not Danny Gardner. Owen O'Gara is going to be spoke to now, is he in? Spotted by Ross Cody and himself. A yellow card for Owen O'Gara. All I can say is James Owens must have caught that out the corner of his eye, because
yeah, I'm sure it's not the first card Owen has seen in the course of his career, but he'll want to be careful now, obviously, for the remainder of this game.
The ball breaking free from that kick. Owen Nolan picks it up again. He's been as involved as anybody in this first half. Simon Donoghue up the left hand side and swung across. Owen O'Gara, the said man, has it. He drilled it across the field. He got kind of hit late after that one. Went and give it to Owen Nolan, taking off in a gallop outside the 50, and has a go at the post. It's going to land into the goalkeeper's hand, and Darragh Brooks does well with it. He pops it off his hand, exchange pass. He likes to get forward out the goal, and he's gone up almost to the 50. He keeps running actually and takes it outside the 50, and then pops it off to the right hand side to Conor Carty, or the left hand side, and Rory Heffernan keeping possession, and Jody O'Shaughnessy. They need to get the ball forward quick. They're doing their best. Their wayward pass though has let them down from Rory Heffernan, and Simon Donoghue storming forward the left hand side inside the 50, 10 yards inside the 50. He goes to ground. The referee O'Gara has it. O'Gara hand fisting it out, and an effort from, is that Tony Smith? Yeah, it's a fine point actually from Tony Smith, Jerry.
Yeah, that's Tony's second point there, and I'm sure his dad, who wasn't that well at it, Larry, would be delighted with that there. So well done to Tony Smith. 2 great points so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And if there's loads of people listening to us in hospital today or at home not feeling well, we'd like to wish you the best, whichever team you support. But there's a slight little bit of a gap starting to appear, Aidan, as we enter the 22nd minute of this game.
And again, it was a Castletown possession. They were on the attack and turned over and punished severely.
The kick out coming, and along what it is, Darragh Brooks landing down short midfield, and straight away is an opportunity here for Castletown. Robbie Brooks down the right hand side, the goalkeeper still going, but great defence. And all illegal according to the referee. I think the referee got that right in.
Yeah, I think there was a hand on the back there. I mean, Robbie had slightly lost control of the ball, but nonetheless he was inside the defender, and I think, look, all told, I think Shelmaliers should be happy enough that only a free is conceded here, and that there
would have been a black card by the letter of the law, really.
Yes, and equally the Castletown could have been in for a goal there.
Absolutely. This is a chance for Conor Carty to get a second point. Did you think it was a free, Jerry?
Well, it's probably
you were put your Shelmaliers hat on, you know.
It's probably wrong to ask me, but I thought that was very harsh on him. I thought Ross Banville did brilliantly to get back. It was a chance of a goal, but I thought he hadn't fouled him. But it's one of those ones, 50-50 ones. But
the only thing I will say is that the Castletown player stumbled, which would suggest he was pushed. Conor Carty doesn't have any problem putting that over the bar, so that's the second point for Castletown. It's the second point for Conor Carty. They needed more of those before half time. 23 minutes nearly played, 5 points to 2, and the kick out going to come from Craig McCabe, who's quite capable of playing out the field if they had to move him out there. Sean Kincar takes it. Simon Donoghue travelling down. In fact, it's Jody Donoghue travelling down the left. That was kind of a high looking tackle. He gets a fair old shoulder. Well, maybe it wasn't a fair old shoulder, and then a little tasty duel between the two of them right down in front of us. Liam Coleman is the guilty culprit. He's going to be booked, I'd say, for that.
Liam can anticipate a yellow card here for sure. He was a little overzealous and robust in his challenge there on Jody Donoghue, but maybe Castletown need to bring that little bit more intensity to the exchanges, because they are being slightly maybe dominated in the general sense, and something like that might just fire them a little, you know.
It's hard to curtail a strong running team. Simon Donoghue is up. A lot of the Shells defenders spend as much time in the opposition's half of the field as they cut in again. Brian Malone hasn't seen much of the ball today. Brian back to Owen Nolan, back out the field to Sean Keane Carl on the left hand side inside the 50, off his fist down to Owen Nolan, has a go at the post, going to hang high and go to land short, boxed out, but is there Glenn Malone has it, picks it, decides to turn back from his goal, give it back out to Ross Donoghue, keeping possession of the football, strolling across the 50, then checks and has a look, give it back out to Glenn Malone, very close to the sideline on the far side. Not a good pass, or is it a good pass? Owen O'Gara making it a good pass, does brilliantly to control the ball, but then he lost control, did his best to try and get it back, and Castletown having to defend, but it's won back. And O'Nolan has a go at the post, and that curl in, that's a super point, that's a point of the game, no question. O'Nolan took one look at the post, and the man that has been playing both for his club and for Wexford for so many years has kicked probably the point of the game so far, Aidan, and he's been one of the players of the first half. 6 points to 2. The county champions are leading now.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with Owen so far today. I thought he was quiet in the semi-final, but today he's really getting on a lot of ball. He got an opportunity there and he struck it beautifully. But again, Castletown had seemed to curtail that attack. They had got their hands on the ball and they spilled it again and fell to Owen straight over the bar. So Castletown would be disappointed with the volume of possession that they're turning over, both offensively and even in this instance defensively.
Absolutely. A little bit of attention to one of the players down there, but we're ready to resume with Dara Brooks. Fine kick on the ball, and maybe Aidan is right, the wind is blowing up the field, a little fist on it, and Liam Coleman getting a touch on it, tries it, knocks it on cleverly, but again, great defence. That might have been a free in my book. I think James Owens missed the first one. It should have been given as a free, I think, Aidan.
Well, it's actually looks like he's indicated a free to Castletown, and I'd be surprised at that because it seemed to me that the Castletown player actually pushed.
Well, was it the first one though, Aidan, before that, before the actual push?
No, I don't think so, because I saw him tap his shoulder to indicate that as far as he was concerned it was a good shoulder charge. So I think what's happening now is that it's a line ball, but I don't think the Shelmaliers player was pushed over, encouraged, shall we say, over the line illegitimately.
Inside the 50, kicking it's the far side of the field, but there's too many Shells players there. It's not a good one. Back out to Donegal Holmes. He's gone in on the inside with the left boot. Is it a point? It is a point for Donegal Holmes. He got inside. He might have got closer. He might have got something more. That was the third point for Castletown. 6-3. 4 minutes to go at half time. Short kick out, and they've messed it up a little bit. Donegal Holmes has it again. Will he pick off a point this time at the right boot? He does pick off a point. A mistake at the back, so 2 quick points from Donegal Holmes, and well, that's a little bit better, Aidan. 6 points to 4.
That's a big 30 seconds for Castletown. It has dragged them from a 6-2 position to a 6-4 position, so that's much more manageable and much more encouraging for them as they approach the half time. Now, if they can get in 2 points down, they'll be happy based on the way this half has gone.
Absolutely. Well, that's an injury down there, which is a little bit of worry. Looks like it'd be a blood substitution. Donegal Holmes has scored those 2 points. One with the left boot on the far side inside and then one with the right boot as the mess up from the kick out from Shelmaliers. I think he's been told to come off because he has a blood substitution, and would you believe he's going to be replaced by the brother, I think, is it? Yeah, he's going to be replaced by the 41-year-old James Holmes. Amazing, isn't it?
Well, I can tell you from experience of James at inter-county level, he's as fit.
He played with Wexford when you were managing it, didn't he?
He was the fittest man I've come across. Himself and Brian Malone were extremely fit individuals. Yeah.
Shells coming forward again off the right-hand side of the boot. Brian Malone coming out to take that. Dummies off his left. Brian kicks it high. Has he kicked it accurately? He has. Brian Malone spent most of his years defending for Wexford in those 170 games that he played for Wexford, 174 actually, with 28 minutes gone. 7 points to 4. Brian Malone with a quick response at the other end, and Brian hasn't done too bad in the scoring rates. That's 4-8 for him in the championship. It just shows he's important still to this team, Ed.
Yeah, for a man to spend virtually all his inter-county life at the other end of the field, on the half back line and so on, he has shown that he has converted into a very, very capable club forward. We've a break in play here now. I think it must be that
Donegal Holmes is coming back on, is he?
That's it.
So James got a short spin.
Well, I'm sure he may see more action later on. Who knows?
I would imagine he will.
Yeah. Not a bad sub to have to come on, indeed.
Experiences that he has in playing. We wanted that much stoppage time because we didn't have that many stoppages in the first half. 7 points to 4. 29 minutes almost played in this opening half of the Dominic Spill Electrical Senior Football Final. Simon Donoghue wins that and then takes off on a gallop with the football. Chased all the way by Jody O'Shaughnessy. Gives a clever little hand pass and a free as he let the ball go. And that will be an opportunity for Shells. Right on the 50, a little bit to the left-hand side. The question is 4 minutes of additional time. I didn't think there was that much injury time. And Glenn Malone going to take this. I'm sure he'll take it from the hand wearing number 8. The younger of the Malone brothers. And he's done a lot of scoring this year. He's been the top scorer from frees. He is their free taker. The man from Old Town. Kiki with his right boot. Has he enough distance? That's dangerous. And electing to box it as Dara Brooks. Shelmalier still have control of the football, sweeping it out to the left hand side, but eventually Liam Coleman gets it back very close to the end line, and then they manage to eradicate themselves from pressure with a number of hand passes. Jody O'Shaughnessy getting forward down the line. Donica Holmes been manhandled by Simon Donoghue, still has possession of the football, got it back, and that was all very tight, but he manages to get it away. But then there's too many players back there, and it's picked up by the very experienced James Cash, captain of the team this year. The ball swung over to the right hand side to Andre O'Brien coming forward, keeping possession of the football. Again, another one of the experienced players on the Shells team, 33 years of age, from that famous spot out in the parish, the Mullinagore. And Danny Keane Carl trying to get forward again, but they managed to Sean Keane Carl is keeping it, but Castletown win it back, and they win it free as well outside their own half, 7 points to 4. And we still have a little over 3 minutes to play, 30 minutes and 45 seconds played, 7 points to 4. Castletown will be reasonably happy. Shells might not be happy, but it's a game that's still in the melting pot. And there was a late tackle there, but the referee didn't see anything untoward in it. Frank Roach has it, giving it off to Danny Gardner. He's a tough nut with the hair flowing behind him, a long head of hair, and it's with Rory Heffernan cutting across the field, keeping possession of the football, doing a 1-2 and running through the middle. Liam Coleman inside the 50. He has Donica Holmes already scored 2 points. Giving back out to Rory Heffernan. Rory Heffernan with the right boot. That's turned away. It's a fantastic point from Rory Heffernan, the big midfielder. He kicked it outside the post end and he allowed the wind to do the rest. Super judgment and a super point from about 40 yards out.
It was probably the first time that Castletown had players coming off each other's shoulders. They had a surplus of players there. There were several players to come onto it. And again, a poor kick out from Shells is putting them under some pressure.
Yeah, but they do win it back down the far side. Glenn Malone popping it off to Andre O'Brien, giving it back to Glenn Malone. Tears off with those long legs up the right hand side of midfield, has a runner outside him. Jody Donoghue back down to the Brian Malone. Brian Malone keeping check of the football back inside to the man wearing number 12, Conor Hearn. Loves to run all day. Hearn weaving his way in towards the defence. He's outside the 20, was under pressure and eventually gave it away to the other number 12, Jack Higgins, storming up the field, coming up towards midfield, has a runner outside him in Frank Roach. Frank Roach takes it off the right boot down into the corner, one man on his own against 2 Shells defenders, and it's Robbie Brooks. Robbie Brooks inside to Frank Roach. Frank Roach bearing down on goal. That looks like a hefty tackle, and this is a chance for Robbie Brooks. Has he curled it in? No, he has. It just left out there. It was a good move from Castletown again, playing with a little bit more freedom as we near the half-time whistle. We've 2.5 minutes of the additional time of 4, signalled by the officials to play 7-5, and it's end-to-end football with Glenn Malone on possession on the right-hand side of midfield. Cuts across towards the midfield marker. Out to the left-hand side, the Sean Keane Carroll is playing a little bit deep, although he's named in midfield. It's Simon Donoghue outside the 50, hops it once, then solos. Patient with the football, keeping possession, back out to Sean Keane Carroll. He has a loose man on the far side and he switches the play diagonally to the far side, and that man is Graham Staples. That's a loose one, picked up by Ross Bamble. However, is a Tony Smith. He's already scored 2, but it's still 2 because that one tails wide. We're in the last minute of the additional of 4, and there's 7 points to 5. Shelmalier is the county champions leading, and we all need a break, I think, at this half time coming, but it's been very entertaining, particularly the last 15 minutes in. And Castletown are making a game of it. That's what we needed today.
The game has really sort of upped in tempo now in the last 10 minutes, and Castletown have started to adapt their play quite more effectively in the last 10 minutes.
Marvellous kick out from Dara Brooks, picked up by Jody O'Shaughnessy, going back to Donncha Holmes. One of the Castletown players went on his backside over there. Brendan Halpin has seen, or the referee James Owen has seen something there, I'm not sure why. They will hop the ball twice, City. And that's it. The half-time whistle has been blown. 7 points to 5. Shelmaliers leading. Donncha Holmes having a word with Donncha Holmes having a word with James Owens. But interesting. And from our point of view as a neutrals, Aidan, the game is still there in the melting pot. In the air, the second half is on, and it's won by Castletown. Rory Heffernan over the right hand side to Jack Roach, very close to the sideline on the far side. There's just 2 points between the sides, 7 points to 5, and they'll need a good start in this second half. Castletown have to have the aspirations to win this, but that's a loose ball up into the corner. Jody O'Donoghue, he's doesn't get the same publicity, does he, as the brother Simon, but he's equally as good, isn't he?
Jody's had a great season so far, both in hurling and football, and Shells on the attack again now. Still for 7 points to 5 in favour of Shells. We're just first minute of the second half.
Yeah, and that's Simon Donoghue travelling down the left hand side of the field, heading inside the 50. Nice little short pop off to Sean Kincard, but it's well defended by Castletown, who will have a lift at half time, knowing that they're very much still in this game, and they're coming forward up the field in a sweep, passing the ball off inside. No, keeping it is Jack Higgins over to the right hand side. And Brendan Halpin, soloing back across the field, keeping possession, patient build up over into the corner, and it's with Jack Higgins again. Higgins keeping possession of football, looking for a little bit of movement. He goes back out the field, back out to Jack Roach, who loves to get forward. Jack Roach keeping possession, and it's with Donncha Holmes. Donncha swinging it off his palm of his hands with his box fist, and it's with Rory Heffernan. They're trying to punch a hole in the Shelmaliers defence. It's not easy at the moment. But Conor Carty giving it back. They're keeping possession very well. A dangerous game, this keeping possession, because the defenders are waiting for you to make a mistake. But that's a lovely little move inside from Jack Higgins. Jack Higgins still going, but he has to check and come back out the field, back out to his cornerback Joe Hearn up there, helping him out. And that loose pass, no, they managed to keep it. And it's with Danny Gardner, the fullback, in towards Liam Coleman, wimbling his way in, and a chance here, and a nice immediate kick from Brendan Halpin. But he's put it wide into with a little breeze maybe, and that was an opportunity of scoring. But they kept possession very well that time, Castletown, Aidan.
Yeah, but there was very little penetration. They did keep possession. I mean, the only player on Castletown's attack that seems capable of breaking through the line is actually...
Oh, that's a loose one, sorry, Aidan. And a chance here. Short kick out. The goalkeeper has to get back. Craig McCabe back out, and the hand pass inside, and that's boxed. Oh, it's over the bar. Well, that could have gone under. Robbie Brooks had a chance there, and the goalkeeper was nowhere. He was at sea. He pulled kick out initially. Not like Craig McCabe to make a mistake like that, but that could have been a major, Jerry.
Yeah, he was trying to drive the ball low out to Shell's player, but it went straight. But look, they got away with just a point, and Robbie Brooks' palm there just barely went over the bar. So
stoppage in play for an injury.
Yeah, only a point between the sides now, 7-6 to Shell's.
Oh, that could have been a goal in. Another couple of inches underneath, and it was a goal, well, stating the obvious, but a mix-up at the back from Shells.
Yeah, well, it was just a poor kick out. It went straight to the Castletown attacker.
The ball down the far side of the field, and it's with Jody Donoghue popping it off, and they're coming forward again, and it's Liam Coleman. Liam Coleman off his right boot. It's into the goalkeeper. Oh, it's over the bar. It's a fine point from Liam Coleman. So great start to the second half. The man on the yellow card, Liam Coleman, has popped over the equalising point, and from a Castletown point of view, this is exactly the start that they wanted in the second half, Aidan.
No question about it. This game is really now in the melting pot, and Castletown have come out with real intent in the second half.
The ball runs through from the kick out, popped on by Owen Nolan, and it's off the right boot inside Sean Kincard. But Danny Gardner reads that situation very well, although the ball spills, and that looked like a high tackle to me. The player in possession, yes, Owen O'Gara. It looked initially like a high elbow up, Aidan, that Brian Malone is protesting, but I don't think there's any doubt about that. Danny Gardner did brilliant again, didn't he?
Danny did brilliant in the instance, in the first instance, and he was very unlucky that he fell and the ball broke to a Shelmaliers player. But there was clearly an overcarry there. Castletown regrouped really well and defended that situation very well.
Dara Brooks once again with a major kick out, going past midfield. He has such a good kick out. And Liam Coleman over to the left hand side. Castletown coming forward into the Clonard, finding plenty of space now, which they didn't find the first half. Donegal Holmes swinging over his right boot, and Castletown are in front. 3 points in the second half in the space of 4.5 minutes, and suddenly the North Wexford men are in front. The third point for Donegal Holmes, and that's a super quick kick from Donegal.
Fantastic point. He's now got 3 points today. He's really having a tremendous game. Another kick out gone astray from Shelmaliers. Craig is not having the kind of game that he would typically have. He's usually a very good striker of the ball, but today I would say there have been maybe 4 or 5 turnovers from his kickouts, which is quite unusual.
And you know what's good about it? We were saying before the game, or suggesting before the game, Aidan, that Castletown might park the bus. They haven't actually.
Well, no, they haven't. Well, they've had to come out, of course, when they're 2 points down and sort of go after the game a little bit. But they've dominated possession now in the early parts of this second half, and they've made great use of it. I mean, they've got 3 points, which is a fantastic return, given that throughout the whole first half they'd only 5 points.
And they're coming forward again, trying to find a little bit of space, but this time breaking at pace is Conor Hearn off his right boot down towards Brian Malone. Brian Malone swinging across the field outside the 50. Danny Gardner sticking to him like a glue, but they have it back with Graham Stables off his right boot down into the right hand, but that's a misplaced pass. In fact, it was Tony Smith who appeared to me to walk on or strike the defender Joe Hearn, but the referee allows play on. And if the linesman spotted that, he might be in a little bit of bother. And the ball is worked out. Castletown coming forward again. They've scored 3 points already in this second half, and now it's driving forward. Joe Gardner off his left boot, but Joe has swung that one. Craig McCabe takes it down in his hands and hops it once and comes out, and then delivers a hand pass to Simon Donoghue in front of him. Simon is already up to the 50, off to the left hand side. Keeping possession very well, and it's Conor Hearn again. He loves to run with the ball, wearing number 12, driving forward again, part of the senior hurling panel with Wexford this year. Conor trying to get forward, and good defence again from Castletown. They're really tight at the back, and it's Liam Coleman breaking through midfield, gives it off down to the left hand side here. Well taken, a brilliant take from Robbie Brooks. Robbie Brooks soloing inside, running into a little bit of traffic, manages to hold on to the football very well, and then he has a support player outside him in his centre back. Centre back picking it up is Colin Kennedy. Colin Kennedy swinging it over to the far side. Kennedy keeping the possession going. And this is really good stuff from Castletown this second half. And a chance here. Is that another score? It is another score for Castletown. It's their 4th point in the space of nearly 7 minutes in the second half. And Jerry, it's all Castletown.
Yeah, it's all Castletown. They scored 8 of the last 10 points. They're really on top of it, so Shell's completely lost their shape altogether. But you have to give credit to Castletown. They're playing very well at the moment.
That's 3 points from their 2 midfielders, Aidan. It's always a good sign.
Great return. They're both playing very well. Rory in particular has been having a really good game, and certainly the Shells look a little rattled. They've gone forward there on a few occasions and been turned over, and Castletown are picking off their scores really well this half.
And accurate pass over the far side. Conor Hearn from Craig McCabe, travelling down the far side of the field. Simon Donoghue buffeted around the place, managed to get the ball away to O'Nolan. O'Nolan influential in the first half, off on a gallop over on the left hand side of the field, inside the 50, then goes left, feign to go right and then went left, passing it off to Brian Malone, or is it Owen O'Garrett is keeping it outside the 50. See strength and power, 37 years of age now, it doesn't matter. 7 All-Irelands I think the man has. As they go inside off his right boot, has he curled that in? It just went wide. Not so sure about that one, Aidan, are you? Did that look over, Aidan?
Well, it certainly curled back, but my instinct was
too late, was it?
Yeah, my instinct was that it had gone past the post, and then
some effort though.
Yeah, it was a good move, and O'Gara showed tremendous strength to ride a few tackles before playing a 1-2 with Brian Malone. But no, I felt that the ball had gone wide, in fairness, so I'm quite sure the officials have got that correct.
Tony Smith called ashore. He's been replaced by Owen Doyle, who was due to start. And Owen has had a major influence. He's played in all of the games so far, started in all of the games so far up to today. He scored 1. I'm trying to find out what he's scored here. I will find it in a minute. He scored 4 points so far in the championship. And Castletown have it again. Jody O'Shaughnessy off to Liam Coleman. He's having a major influence in the second half, young Coleman. And the ball down to the left to Brendan Halpin. Scored 4 the last day. Hasn't scored yet today, but he's still playing very well. Coleman has it again, popping it off to his fist. And lovely exchange of pass to his midfield partner. That's a loose one. One back by Shells. Danny Keane Carr, or Sean Keane Carr winning it. And giving it off to the man wearing number... Is that Keane Doyle? He came on, Jerry? No, it's Conor Hearn. Conor Hearn breaking forward. heading in towards the 50. Pops it off to Owen Doyle just after coming in, the primary school teacher. Giving it off to his left to Simon Dunn, who let it fall out of his hand. He has it. He's 45 yards from the goal at the Wexford Town side. It's back out the field. Nobody prepared to shoot yet. Trying to work themselves closer to the goal with Glenn Malone inside the 50. Still keeping possession. Under a lot of pressure. Buffeted around the place. But the number 8 keeps possession very well. It's with Simon Donoghue trying to get forward. Shows and goes. But again, good defence in Castletown. Although Shell still have it, they pass it over into the left corner, and the ball work back inside onto Owen O'Gara. Shorty strength and power, winning that with a number of players around off his right boot. Danger here, and that goes through to the goalkeeper Darragh Brooks, who read it very well. We played nearly 10 minutes in the second half. Castletown leading 9-7 and coming forward up the field as well. They still have possession of the football, but they spill it. Owen O'Gara blocked off his attempted effort to hit it inside. And the referee is not going to allow that to happen. Because Sean Keane Carroll, in his desire to get the football, pushed Liam Coleman against the hoarding down there, and well, he might be lucky to get away with that, in fairness. He's going to throw it in, actually, I think, the referee, is he?
Yeah, well, I think it probably should be a free to Castletown in the sense that it was a line ball, so if he's overriding the line ball, I presume it would become a free if he deigns that or deems that Sean Keane Carroll did in fact push the Castletown player. We'll see.
He's going to throw it in, I think. I think Shells are lucky that it's only a throw in. Ball in the air, Liam Coleman there, flying off hands, one back by Coleman again. He cleverly got away, and that's definitely a free to Castletown, who are by far the better team in the second half in this opening nearly 11 minutes. In fact, Shelmaliers haven't scored yet in the second half, Jerry.
No, Shells have only scored 2 points since the 22nd minute of the first half, so Castletown completely on top of him.
That's a long time. That's 8 and 4. That's 12 minutes without a score, Aidan. That's not the pedigree you want to win a county final. Breaking forward, Donegal Holmes again. Little bit of space. Frank Roach cutting in. He's still going. He's inside the 20 at the right hand side. He's picked off another point. It's all Castletown, Aidan, in the second half. They've been brilliant, really, haven't they? That's their 5th point.
Well, I don't know what they had in their half-time tea, but whatever it was, it's certainly
working.
Absolutely. It's like they've found a whole new level of energy here in the second half. The pace at which they're moving through that middle third is quite in contrast to the way they move forward in the first half. So it's extraordinary, and they're playing exceptionally well, defending well, transitioning well, and they've picked off their score every time they've gone forward.
Yeah, and I should say the Kyle and Erin team that won the 25th anniversary. They were all out there today. John Hegarty, of course, was part of that team, the Shelmaliers manager, and Matty Ford and the crew. They were all there today. Donnie Noonan and rewarded, and the Shells yet to score in the second half. We played 12 minutes of that second half. Switching play over here to the right hand side, inside the 50. Glenn Malone, while capable of shooting from here, he decides not to. Cuts back inside. Hand pass it off. He's lucky to get away with that. He might have took 1 or 2 steps too many. Oh, Nolan having a go, but that one has gone wide. So nothing going right for the county champions at the moment. It shows you how difficult it is to retain a title, in Castletown leading 10-7. It's been a majestic performance in this opening 13 minutes of the second half from the men from North Wexford. And if they could win today, as Jerry said last week, they will be the all-time winners of the county championship. They'll go to 12, one ahead of St. John's Volunteers, Jerry.
Yeah, they'll go top of the pecking order at the moment. And at the moment, they look like it, but there's a long way to go yet. They have 18 minutes to go yet, but Castletown completely on top at the moment.
The ball high in the air, knocked down by Shelmaliers. They're coming forward. Pass over to the far side and taking off on a run over there. It's Conor Hearn cutting back inside the 50. Then off his right boot to Glenn Malone. Seen plenty of this ball in the second half, but they haven't worked anything from it in towards his brother. Little slip from the brother, but he still manages to get possession very close to the end line. Got it out, but there was too much pressure coming in there and he'd no support. And it's won back by Joe Gardner up the sideline to young Jack Higgins, coming from his staring at pace up the left hand side. Glenn Malone trying to get back and stop him. Glenn Malone did well, but a little overzealous the tackling that time, and there certainly is a certain frustration creeping into Shell's play.
There probably is. Glenn had done all the hard work there. He had made the hard yards. He'd got level with Jack. He just needed to turn him, deflect him, and instead he committed a foul that lets Castletown take a little breather, gives them the go forward ball again. But as ever, that all stemmed from another turnover that Castletown executed by turning the ball over against Brian Malone. They're playing with tremendous intensity the second half, and they're really transitioning so much quicker, and Jack Higgins is instrumental in that. He's shown tremendous pace, dropping deep, getting on it and carrying it forward.
Well, a team like Castletown with their history, Eden, and history means a lot. Maybe not these young fellas, some of them weren't born when they won county titles, but the reality is it seeps in, the tradition seeps in, and they're showing no respect for the county champions at the moment, which is what they needed to do today anyway.
They're really putting it up to them. They're asking all the questions now in the second half. They're defending mightily. They're moving forward with great speed. They're not afraid to have a go when they get into that final third. And look, it's coming together for them very nicely at the moment, but Jerry just said there's a long way to go, and Shelmaliers have been excellent county champions. We've seen in games this year to date just how potent a threat they carry, so I certainly wouldn't be, and I know no one else, or certainly no one from Castletown will be getting carried away just yet.
Yellow card, a little break for injury. When we get a next stoppage, we must talk about Seamus Keevans for a minute. Everybody knew him, the Garda. His son Shay was down there today, and the family accepted the award, lifetime award. I'm sure he's looking down from above with Paddy Wickham. They're probably having an old chat, and that one is tailed out left. An opportunity for Dara Brooks, is a good striker of the ball, and I think the wind is favouring Shells, it appears, in the second half, Aidan.
Well, I'm not sure. It's hard to judge, but I do think it's probably actually favouring perhaps Castletown slightly. But it's not. I don't think it is as substantial as it was in the first half.
How long is it now since Shell scored, Jerry?
Since the 28 minutes of the first half, Liam.
Yeah, so it's 17 minutes since they scored. As the ball comes forward again, and it's Conor Ahern. He certainly will keep going and driving, cuts right across the field from one side of the field to the other, pops it off to Sean Keane Carl, travelling inside the 50, hops the ball once, then gives it off to Brian Malone, trying to work his way inside. Oh no, in fact, and to settle it down, they need a point to settle them back into this game, because they've been struggling to score and they've been very poor in the second half, and I think, to be fair, credit must be given to Castletown for that reason.
Yeah, no question. Castletown have really upped the intensity in the second half. They've upped the tempo of the game, the pace at which they were playing. They just sort of shifted into a higher gear, and they've caught Shelmaliers a little bit on the hop in that regard. Now Shelmaliers may be just beginning to come to terms with that, and they've got
Glenn Malone has just put that ball wide from a free from 30 yards out.
I wasn't keeping a close eye on it, and I assumed it was going over the bar. It looked like an easy free for Glenn, so that's a big blow to them, and now again begin another little dent to their confidence, you know.
And they have the experience, Aidan Cash, now to come in for Jody Donoghue.
Okay, so look, obviously Shells have plenty of strength and depth, and they have resources they can bring in, but
the ball out around midfield, knocked down by Castletown, picked up by Donegal Holmes. Connor Carty dribbling it off to the left, off to Brendan Halpin. Brendan Halpin back to Donegal Holmes. He's been as good as anybody today for Castletown as they transfer the ball to Liam Coleman, travelling down the left hand side, decides to take it on, then checks and come back, and he's three Shells players around him, and I think he might have thrown that. He was a little unfortunate really, and allows Shelmaliers to come forward. 17 minutes of the second half played, and 8 minutes, that's 25 minutes without a score for Shelmaliers. But as Jerry said, there's a long ways to go yet, and the Kills still would win this game. And Castletown having to defend now as they come forward. That looks like a charge with the football to me, but James Owens didn't see hanging on toward. Castletown break up that attack. That's really good defence from Castletown. And then they get him forward quickly. Accurate pass, picking out Robbie Brooks. Robbie has to check. He's in midfield. He's waiting for the support to get there. Now it's got there in the shape of young Jack Higgins. He's been very good in the second half, Jack Higgins, worming his way out of trouble. Three Shells players around him. Still has the football. Manages to get it away, but it's back to Simon Donoghue. Back in his own half, keeps possession. Tight marking from Frank Roach, but he still has possession of the football. And giving it off inside. Conor Hearn running for. He's done as much running as anyone, Conor Hearn. Dangerous ball inside. Brian Malone trying to control it. But again, that Castletown defence hold firm. And they've had to hold firm. Looked like a free there to me. I think Castletown will be really annoyed, because there's no doubt about it that a Shelmaliers player went high, in my opinion, before that. That's a fortunate free, in my opinion, for Shelmaliers' end.
Yeah, I'm a little bit perplexed myself. I didn't see how it could be a Shelmaliers free. I'm not sure there was a free at all. It was just one of those situations where there was a lot of people competing for the ball that was on the ground, and ultimately it ended up in Castletown hands, and the Castletown player fell over, but for some reason, the referee obviously saw something I certainly didn't.
Yeah, he's closer to the action than we are, in fairness.
So it's a free in, and Glenn would certainly want to be nailing this one.
He certainly would. 19 minutes played in the second half, and he has nailed it.
Liam signal for picking the ball directly off the ground. I didn't see it. That's what
I thought there was a free picking it off the ground, but I thought there was a free before that. However, there's 2 points between the teams now. The first point of the second half coming after 19 minutes for the Shells team, and that one has been put over by Glenn Malone. It's only his second point today, 10 points to 8. And the kick out coming, won by Glenn Malone. Fell off his hand, giving it to Graham Staples. Graham going back. Sean King-Carl doing well to win that. Under pressure, however, from Jody O'Shaughnessy. Jody O'Shaughnessy is a man inside, buffered around the place. Manages to keep possession. He does win a free in. There was 4-5 Shelmaliers players around Jody O'Donoghue that time.
Jody O'Shaughnessy, yeah.
Or Jody O'Shaughnessy, should I say.
Yeah, well, he did well to gain possession of the ball. He did seem to be in trouble because the Shells had got the bodies around him, but obviously they conceded the free, which is a let-off now for Castletown, in the sense that it gives them an opportunity to have a go at the post here. And it looks like
they didn't bring up the goalkeeper, Dara Brooks.
Robbie. It looks like Robbie is going to take this one. I'm surprised that they haven't brought Dara up, even if it was only to eat up a little time, and because kicking off the ground is always that little bit easier, I think, if you're a good striker, than out of the hand when you have a windy conditions.
And this is an opportunity, and has he? No, it has gone over. It has gone over for Robbie Brooks, so the other Brooks has scored that one. And 11 points to 8, Jerry. A tight 10 minutes now for the county champions.
Well, very tight, Liam, and they're going that. I don't know. It's going to be hard to see him getting 4 points, Liam, or 3 points to get back into that score goal.
Although they have a chance, Conor Hearn will do as much as anyone. He's certainly done a lot of running today. Accurate pass inside to Simon Donoghue. Changing direction, giving the ball off to Owen Nolan. It's a Brian Malone. It's Owen O'Gara, in fact. And a brilliant defence from Conor Carty. Fell on the ground, stopped the ball and fell on the ground. And then they move it quickly up the right hand side. And it's Castletown coming forward. A little bit of space for Jack Higgin. He's on his run. He's still going. Graham Staples in front of him, but he's still going. Off his right boot. Great point from Higgins. Fantastic point from the young man. A brilliant score. Got into the loose space, took it up the right, and that's a super point from an excellent young footballer.
That's an excellent young player with tremendous pace. I've seen Jack playing county under 20 last year. I'm well aware.
Only 18 in.
Yeah, he played with Gorey Community School. I then came into the Wexford under 20 setup, and I saw him play there, and I've always been very impressed with what I've seen of him. And today he's growing up, I can tell you.
Well, I can tell you, 21 minutes played in the second half. And just 1 point from the county champions. It's not winning form, I'm afraid, but they still could do it. They have the ability. Of course they have the ability. They know how to cloud wins, even when they're not playing, when they're playing poorly, and they are playing poorly in the second half. And a credit to Castletown for that, I'm sure. They're on the attack, however. They're inside the Castletown half of the field. Lovely buck pass inside. Is there an opportunity here? Oh, Nolan has it. 25 yards out. Swings it off his right boot, but the wind has taken it well wide. Well wide. Frustration for the men from Corraclone, Screen and Castlebridge. 52 and a half minutes played, 12 points to 8. Castletown with a superb second half performance, still in control in this game, Ed.
Well, they've got a 4-point lead now, and with the scoring rate that Shelmaliers have had in this half to date, they're certainly not going to get back into it with points. They're probably going to need a goal unless somehow they can find a rich vein of form over the next couple of minutes.
A brilliant kick out from Dara Brooks. And it's won back by Shells, however. Glenn Malone buffered around the place, allowed the advantage of travelling through midfield. They desperately need a goal as they come forward. Conor Ahern again. He's been done some work for his team. He's the one player that's trying to drag them back into the game. Owen Nolan exchanging passes with Conor, popping it off his right boot to Brian Malone, having to come out the field now to get the football. Strolling across outside the 20, giving it off to Owen Nolan. He in turn passing it off to Owen Doyle. Owen Doyle keeping possession. Back to Owen Nolan. Castletown funneling back, making it difficult, tightening up the space. Sean King-Carl gone 10 yards inside the 50. Hand pass inside. This is an opportunity perhaps maybe of getting a score. Jody O'Shaughnessy working hard. And in fact there's too many Castletown players there. And Danny Gardner gives it off to Liam Coleman breaking through the tackle. And the ball is worked up the field to Donegal Holmes. Keeping possession of the football, 4 or 5 players around him. He's dragged around the place, and this is brilliant defence from the Castletown men. They've just snuffed out every little bit of danger that's come their way in the second half. In
Onagar is a big man, gets on the ball, strong, but you get so many bodies around him, he simply can't operate. And that's what happened there. They stripped the ball off him and then counter-attacked very, very effectively.
In fact, they're doing it as Shelmaliers on Shelmaliers, aren't they, Castletown?
To some extent, but again,
Jack Higgins with a lovely ball inside, a little bit of space here. Craig McCabe read that very well. He has to come out of his goal. He's 25 yards out on the left-hand side of his goal, popping it off to Simon Dunno, who'll take off on a gallop. Nobody coming near him. 12 points saved with 5.5 minutes remaining. This would be a remarkable result when nobody gave them a chance today at Castletown. Of course, there's a while to go yet, but Shells desperately need a goal if they're going to get back into this, because I can't see them winning it if they're going to rely on scoring points. As they cut back inside, Brian Malone, as Conor Hearn is it. Conor Hearn blocked down, but there was nobody running off the ball for him, although he does win a free in. It's been a very disappointing second half from Shelmaliers, Jerry.
Yeah.
Credit to Castletown though.
I suppose they've reserved their worst display of the year so far for the second half, Liam.
Would you have to give Castletown credit?
Let me finish, Liam, let me finish. I was about to say that, but you have to give credit to Castletown, Liam. Yeah, you have to give credit to Castletown.
Another change on the Shelmaliers team is that Paul Hearn coming in. He's the younger of the Hearn brothers, isn't he?
Younger Conor Hearn, you have a good footballer too, Liam.
This is an opportunity now to get the second point. Glenn Malone, tight angle, and Glenn Malone has put it wide. Oh dear, just when you needed a score. Just when we needed a score.
yeah, no, that's 2 frees now Glenn has put wide in this half that Shelmaliers desperately needed. And you get a sense that the momentum is so much with Castletown, and they are playing with tremendous intensity and pace the second half.
Bringing on young Killian Pearce now, who started the first couple of games for him. Another 22-year-old from Kilmurray, and Owen O'Gar's gone off the Shelmaliers team.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at that. Owen has been relatively ineffective this second half.
The ball back out to Donegal Holmes. He's outside the 50, attacking the Clonardin. Takes off on a little run, has to check and come back. Keeping possession of football. Conor Carty's very good at that, of course. And that's a high tackle coming in from Aidan Cash. And Castletown will now take the pace out of the game. Little under 4 minutes remaining. And the team, is it hard to believe that since 2 and 28 minutes, Jerry, only 1 point in 28 minutes for Shelmaliers?
Yeah, very poor return, Liam, but you know, they just can't break down the Castletown defence, and the Castletown defence has been very good, bottle up the Shelmaliers players. And the Shells started very well, but since the first 20 minutes they haven't played well, Liam.
Absolutely. Well, this is a remarkable turnaround, Dave. You know,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have predicted this at half time.
Not quite, but at the same time I did say to you before the game that look, I certainly wasn't going to commit to an easy Shelmaliers victory. I did say that getting back-to-back titles is a very hard thing to do, and Castletown are the one team that I felt could stifle the Shelmaliers game. In the first half I didn't think Castletown were going that terribly well. Towards the end of the half,
Sorry, Aidan, a 60-yard free from Dara Brooks.
he's made it.
He's nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. A superb kick from the goalkeeper.
Well, I think that's indicative of how everything in the second half has turned to gold for Castletown. Everything they put at the post has gone over. And a 5-point lead now with, 3 minutes to go. It would look to be Castletown's day.
Yeah, to reach the honour of the most. 6 points to 1 in the second half is the score, Jerry, isn't it?
No, it's 8 points to 1.
Oh, sorry, 8 points to 1. Coming forward again down the left-hand side. Shelmaliers, they won't give up. Of course they won't. Travelling on the right-hand side. They're still going. Working the ball inside James Cash, but they win a free over on the far side. But points are no good to them now, Aidan, are they?
Well, it's most unlikely. I mean, we can't imagine that there's a lot of added time to go with the 2 minutes of normal time that remain. So you'd feel that the way Castletown defend and so on, it's highly unlikely that Shells would be able to reel in this deficit by scoring points. But I suspect they'll try and get a point off this now, bring it to 4, and go from there.
Yeah, Glenn Malone, it was going to be taken by I think it was Paul Hearn was going to take it, but gives it to Glenn. He's 10 yards in field. He's on the 20. Pops it off. He's right boot in around the area. Somebody got a fist on it. Brilliant catch by Liam Coleman. And then knocks it out into play. In fact, it's Joe Gardner that caught it. It was a brilliant catch under pressure, Aidan, and he did the right thing. He lorried it into the stand, and they take it quickly. Brian Malone popping it off his fist down the right hand side. Simon Dunner, the right corner forward position, getting it inside, back, danger, but well read. Is the ball gone out for a 50? He's gone out for a 50.
That's all right from a Castletown point of view. Once they protect their goal and don't concede a goal, they won't mind 45s or anything like that.
There's 100 young fellas behind the hoarding down in front of us on the stand, and they're all from Castletown. When the final whistle goes, Aidan, if Castletown are to hold on and to win this one, and I think it's wrong to say hold on, if Castletown win this one, Shelmaliers trying to find a way through a very vigilant Castletown defence, which it has been very good today. They're still driving forward. It's an opportunity. Conor Hearn, they're still buffeting, running into traffic. Ball popped back out. James Cash still battling hard to win it, but again it's back out the field. There's absolutely no room in there. You wouldn't get a flea through the room through there. There's no space, and there's only one player in outside the Castletown 50 in the whole field. That's Craig McCraig, hoping that the ball might come out to him maybe. But there it is, one back by Castletown's Jack Roach. Back over on the right hand side, it was just too crowded there, hits the ball up the field, and it's back out. Craig McCraig is going to take this to goalkeeper. When I tell you that he's 15 yards inside the opposition's half of the field as Brian Malone comes out to take it. 13 points to 8. We're in the first period of extra time. The ball in around the area. Where is it? On the ground. Bodies there. Gets who comes away with it. And then a hefty tackle, James Holmes, or Jody O'Shaughnessy, who's had some game today, Jody. He's no spring chicken, as they say, and I'm sure his father, Joe's looking down. He's 40 years of age, Jody O'Shaughnessy, and he's running around like a young thing.
Well, he certainly did his bit today. I remember Jody here in 2006 when they played against Horswood, and it was probably a day he won't really want to remember, but he can certainly enjoy today and his performance in this game. And of course we remember his late father Joe, who was such a wonderful GA man.
Yeah, and a wonderful ambassador for football. They drag forward again, Shelmaliers. They're trailing by 5 points. It's a lot task. I didn't see what extra time was put up by the board. 4 minutes, Jerry, was it? With the ball inside. This is an opportunity. Shell just 1 point in the second half. Remarkably, really. The ball back out the field. Brian Malone, he's never given up trying for the team. He never does. The ball back out the field. Back out here to the man wearing 19, Ross Banville, having a go. Is that a point? It is a point, and it's scored by James Cash, I think, the captain, isn't it, Jerry?
Yeah, James Cash, team, showing him how it's done there.
And that's just the second point of the second half. 4 points between them, and James Holmes is getting ready to come in. You get a little swan song.
Yeah, you'd feel that it probably is just a little cameo for James.
Deserves it.
Absolutely great reward for the tremendous service he's given to his club over the years.
Wearing white gloves. He looks like he has surgeon's gloves on him. He's often performed surgically on the field, Aidan, at times.
Well, I presume he's we won't take that analogy any further, but well, it's lovely to see James getting some game time, and obviously they'll just want to see out these last couple of minutes now. 2 minutes to go.
Absolutely. Shell's still battling hard, but again Castletown win it back. Liam Coleman, he's had an outstanding game today, that young man. Wexford midfielder of the future, has been, and of the future, to find a ball over the far side. Jack Higgins, he's been really good in the second half. Higgins, Castletown winning the ball back. They're not finished yet. Higgins has it again, cutting in towards the 50, taking on the defence. The 18-year-old, but it's knocked out of his hand. Sean Keane Carroll there. We've nearly 3 minutes of the additional time signal of 4, and Castletown are to become the kingpins of Wexford football. They'll go into the all-time winners enclosure with 12 wins ahead of St John's Volunteers. 13 points to 9. Shelmaliers coming forward again. Gavin is alongside me here. He might switch on the switch of the floodlights, but we will have floodlights next year, thank God. Maybe January, I think, maybe sometime like that, yes. So we'll be hearing the bright lights on a Saturday night, and the ball back out the field. And it's Glenn Malone. Hasn't given up. He never does. But Shelmaliers will be disappointed. There's a poor performance, and you can't take anything away from Castletown. They've been superb. And that's a ball drilled across the area, and well dealt with by Dara Brooks. The goalkeeper's happy enough to kick it out into the stand. To tell you the truth, Aidan, you could kick it anywhere now.
Well, it tells you, I suppose, his understanding that the game was virtually up. He didn't even try to find a Castletown player. There was no one really in any sort of an advanced area to give it to. Little bit of drama there on the sideline, unnecessary stuff now, just involving the ball being returned from the Castletown section to the Shelmaliers players for a line ball.
Yeah, Anthony Masterson threw the ball out and it hit Dan Campbell, and I think Dan had a go at Anthony, but I think Anthony needs to calm down, I suppose.
Yes, look, it's unnecessary, as I say. Castletown have this game secured. There was no need for
red card for the number 18.
That's unfortunate. At this late stage in the game, you don't like to see that. You know, it compounds the.
There's no need to give a red card either.
I didn't see what he was getting.
Anthony Masterson threw the ball out and threw it at him, and he came back and kind of pushed him, and I don't know. Anyway, play on. Referee still playing on with 4.5 minutes of additional time played, and Shelmaliers win a free in. And they take it quickly. They want to take it quickly, but it's well defended. The referee allows the quick free. Ross Cody, and that's it. Castletown are the Wexford Senior Football Champions 2022. The pitch is invaded by their supporters. They fully deserved the victory. They outscored their opponents in the second half by 8 points to 2, Aidan, and you just can't. That sums it up really.
Well, Castletown's second half performance was absolutely majestic. Defending was of the highest order, discipline in their defending, their transitioning from back to front, the speed at which they moved the ball through that middle third was so much at contrast with the way they moved the ball in the first half. And then their finishing, especially Rory Heffern and Liam Coleman, picked off a few very important scores early in that second half to give them that little gap. And once they got in front, there was no way they were letting Shelmaliers back into the game. They were brilliant in the second half, and Shelmaliers just could not find the key to unlock them. So well deserved. I did say at the outset it's a difficult thing to put them back to back, and Horswood's record of doing it back in 05-06 is extended for another year.
Castletown now are the kingpins of Wexford football.